Good morning, guys. It's Craig here from Gifford's Electrical. I hope everyone is well. Today we are at one of my regular clients. You may recognise the property as we go through it, where we did the renewed the cabling on the outside lights. So today's job is basically to supply the newly rebuilt pump house for the swimming pool. So there's a breaker already available, ready to go for the pump house. So we literally originally it was wired in just T&E, and it's just been ripped out. So by the previous Spark. So we're gonna basically put in a new armoured supply because it's a dedicated shed that they've put in. So we'll put in the armoured. We've got a new sub board for it because it's actually going to have multiple circuits off it. So we've got the pump, the pool light, a normal light, batten light. We've also got a double socket going in there, so a single double socket. And then there's also going to be the heat exchanger as well, which needs its own dedicated 16 amp supply. So yeah, so the pump and the lighting obviously aren't going to take up much current draw at all. We rated the pump, actually worked out the pump was literally drawing just over 2 amps, I think it was. And the light is, well, it's an underwater 12-volt light, but the transformer obviously needs a supply, and that again was less than a couple of amps, so nothing, no major draw on there. And then literally the double sockets are, I think they're just for something in the event of issues type scenario. So they're not having anything plugged into them per se. So yeah, but they want them in there just to be on the safe side. We've got delivery coming from Consumer Unit World today. We've got a fuse box board coming. Now there's been a delay. Obviously I've had to delay this job because the materials just weren't coming in, and then I got a phone call from them yesterday saying that everything's in with the exception of the actual main board. So, well, I can't really do the job without the main board. They said, well, what we'll do, we'll happily give you the 10-way board for the same price as the 6-way. Happy days, guys. Send it through, send it straight to the house, and I'll crack on. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna get everything in, and then I'll give you a quick rundown of where we're at, so you can actually see what's what. So catch you in the garden. Okay, so we're in the garden. This is our new pump house, and you can see the pump and filtration system there. That's the old transformer down on the back. Our board and everything is going to go on the middle there. So basically we'll have everything we need on that one board. We've got this is where the heat exchanger is going to go, so we'll have a rotary isolator on there as well, just to protect that. That'll go on just this corner here. This is the existing pool house. So we've got our armoured feed coming in from the house itself, going straight in. So yeah, there's a cover that goes here actually, but yeah, that's the work of the previous Spark when they did this. So it's a Wilex board, I believe. So let's just go inside. Yeah, Wilex board. So that's where we're at the moment. You can see obviously all the cables run externally. And that's how it goes from there. So yeah, there's already a breaker in there, ready for the pump house, and we'll go from there. Need to just double check that obviously when we take this off we'll have a look, but yeah, that's where we're coming in. Well, that's where the armoured comes in. So we're going to be coming in a very similar probably around here, because that socket is fed from behind. There's no obviously cabling because it's a single skin wall. It's just, yeah, there's nothing else there. So yeah, so that's where we're at. So I'm gonna just finish getting set up, and then we'll go from there. After doing a little bit of checks and whatnot, we've got a ZE at the pool house of 5 ohms. What they've done, it's a 10mm armoured. It's been here, this armoured actually has been in since before the shed was built. There was already a smaller one here. Anyway, they've used the steel as the CPC, and it's a 10mm cable, so that actually needs to be the equivalent of 80mm in order to actually provide any satisfactory function as a CPC. So rang the NIC, did some rang their tech helpline, and basically the gist of it is we think the TNS supply has been converted to PME. And if you've been watching any of the E5 stuff from Paul, you know, it's likely that most of our network that was TNS is now PME. So we're going to disconnect the armour and stop that being used as a CPC, and we'll basically, we've put in an earth rod. Now, I've put in a few earth rods, but never has it been as easy as this. So I pre-drilled a 1 metre hole, and it didn't need it. It literally is clay-based soil, and I've been able to just literally feed down 2.4 meters of rod as though it was a knife through butter. I'm absolutely buzzing on that because I hate earth rods. So we've got a box to go in here, and yeah, that's kind of, I haven't really done much other than spoken to the NIC at the moment, so that's where we're at. Okay, so we're at the end of day 1. Things haven't progressed as much as I'd hoped, but here's where we're at. So we've got our board on the back ready to go for our fuse board and everything. We've got our feed into the shed, so that comes out there. So after a long conversation with the NIC, we've had to TT the fuse board in here, behind here, and in order to do that we've also had to make sure that the earth from the house isn't exported. So we've put a whisker box on, and the armour terminates into the whisker box and then just feeds through from there. We've got our new supply coming in. We've got our TT rod down there, and we're getting just over 13 ohms, which I think on a TT system is blinding. If I take you, that's for our main incoming, and then that's our outgoing to the next board. Now, one of the other things that's been flagged up is the design issue. The SWA has been in for a long time, actually as long as the pool's been in, so that's probably about 30 plus years, maybe 40. But when they did the rewire, they didn't do their job really. They didn't design it properly, because it should have been at least a 16mm supply. In my mind, I probably would have done 25mm from the board to the outside box. Then that gives us the scope to upgrade the cable on the outside. But because they haven't done that, we're gonna have to run we're gonna basically have to turn everything on, do a clamp test, and see what we get at the end of it. Hopefully we're below, and we're okay to carry on using the 10mm. But that is kind of where we're at. So we're back again tomorrow, and tomorrow we're then going to fit our fuse board. We've actually got I think we've got the box. I haven't opened it yet, but from Consumer Unit World, we've actually got a CP fuse box. So yeah, I'm excited to fit that, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Okay guys, so we're day 2, back at the pool job, and we've made a little bit of progress. So what we've got the board on the backboard. Basically it's, we've gone for a CP fuse box. Got it from Consumer Unit World. Now sadly it's turned up with one of the SPDs showing red, so I've spoken to them and they're going to send me out a new one. We've got basically not many feeds in here, so effectively we've got a lighting circuit which will also supply the transformer, not that one but another one that converts the 230 to 12 volts. It's literally using 2 amps, and then the light fit we've got is 7 watts, so again nothing on that lighting circuit at all. We're going to have a double socket on there. We've got a control panel coming which will be for the heat matrix, and it will also control the pump. So the pump's there, 0.55 kilowatts, so again, hardly anything off that. But the control unit will probably sit in this vicinity here. We've got a feed to our rotary 16 amp rotary isolator, but all the feeds will come through there, through to the back of the board. So yeah, very little to do there. We've got our armors in, and then obviously we've got the armor, which we just need to make good for the transformer. Rotary isolator. Now we don't have the, we're not going to have the heat exchanger for a little bit by the sounds of it. So I haven't bothered to make off the underneath yet. So we've just got our single Copex there, but it's all, you know, it's there ready and waiting for the client when he's got it. So that's where we're at with this at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to carry on. Not much to really show at this point because it's just me in a tiny little shed. So I will catch you guys in a little bit. Things are starting to take shape now. We've basically got our transformer that converts from 230 to 12 volts, or it's multiple actually. It's well, 13, 14, 15 and 16 volts, class 2. We've got our board in, just need to make off our connections. As you can see, sadly one of the SPDs arrived red, so I've spoken with Consumer Unit World, they're going to send me out a replacement. That's good. We've got obviously our double socket, we've got our light switches, and basically this control unit that the client's just picked up, according to the wiring instructions, basically you bring your feed in and you put it in at the top, and then it's a C-class 16 amp breaker, and from here you're meant to power the light circuits. I guess it's like a one-stop shop type scenario. This unit here is basically just a mechanical start-stop with an adjustable fuse rating. Now our pump is actually only it's 2 amps, but the minimum you can set it to is 6 amps, so between 6 and 10 amps. So yeah, so we leave it basic at that. We then have our timer, so this basically tells us when to run the actual pump and the heat exchanger. This is our feed for said heat exchanger. I'm just waiting for a call back from the pool guy, because nowhere in the instructions does it say where to fit the actual heat source exchange. It's got anti-frost and low contact, which is probably going to be that. So, but best to get clarification. But ports 3 and 4, so that'll go up there. Earth bar there, and then we've got our pump feed here, which basically connects into 2 and 6. So the CPC will go over to there, and then you basically have a timer, off, and manual. So it's going to be set to basically timer once we've got it all up and running. But nice little unit, basically Schneider components. But yeah, it is plastic, but it's again, we're not. It's control gear or switch gear, but we're not using it in a house setting. So obviously no chance of obviously. If it melts, for instance, the fire brigade aren't going to be in here. They're literally just going to be jetting it with water, if that. So yeah, we just got to make off our connections now, tidy up a bit, and then to be fair, we're good to go on there. Obviously run our tests, make sure everything's up and running, and then we'll actually be able to get the pool side of things, at least the pump side of it, up and running, and make sure that works. So for now, I'm going to wait for this pool guy to call, but for everything else I'm going to crack on. Okay, board's in, cables are in and dressed. One of the things I do like about these CP fuse box units is it actually gives you the correct torque rating on the labels. So for the CPC in the neutral bar it's 2 Newton meters. For the bus bar connections it's 2.5. And surprisingly on the RCBOs, the input connections 1.2. So yeah, so I've set my torque screwdriver, I don't know if you can see that on there, but it's set to 1.2. Oh, clicky, excellent. So does anybody else actually torque tight their connections? So yeah, all done on that one. So this is the Draper Torx driver. Pretty straightforward one actually. It's pretty pretty nice. So what we'll do, we'll turn that over to 2. Yep, what's that? That's 1.5. And that should be 2 now. Yes, it is. So let's just tighten up these. So the far end earth is our SPD, and then obviously 1, 2, 3 for the breakers, and then we've got main earth, and that is our earthing nut. So we'll do the same on these. And that will be the final one, and then I'm just going to do the board, but I'm going to need 2 hands to get the 2.5 up because it's a bit stiff. Just doing my thumb. I might be able to do it on. Let's just do it like this. So 2.5. Right, let's have a go. Ooh. So yeah, even I'll do all of them because that one says 2.5, but it's not even been undone, but it's very loose. So we'll just tighten these up. There we go, last few. Line and neutral, and then the MCB for the SPD, and that's it, all torque tight. We're now at the point where everything is pretty much done, so just got to get a replacement SPD and some more of these blanks. This is the control unit, like you've seen that before. We've had the pump running, but there is some issues with the gasket, sadly, so it's a bit leaky. And the only thing I'm just waiting a call back from the pool guy is, what do I hook up in terms of the isolator? Where do I connect that up within the control unit? Because it needs to be effectively, it's meant to supply, that control unit controls both the pump and the heat exchanger, but the instructions are very vague when it comes to what goes where. It doesn't even tell you how, basically where your line and neutral is for the pump. It just says connecting to these 2 pins, so I had to actually trace that out. But obviously the fuse rating is for the pump, so where do I connect my 16 amp connection for the heat exchanger? And it's not on that breaker, before anybody obviously comments. It's meant to go off one of the contactors or something, maybe even the timer. I'm not entirely sure, so I'm just waiting on that call back. But yeah, that's it. We've got another day at least here, because we've got to do, obviously, still got to do the testing, the labelling, but obviously it's all brand new and stuff, so, but it's just for records. So I've done tests but not kept the records because I stupidly didn't write them down. We then got to fit the heat exchanger, which should actually be here by the end of the week, so we're going to have at least a 3rd day here just to get things sorted. But it was quite cool to see the pool in action and seeing it skimming and stuff. So yeah, we'll come back again on the same video, but we'll come back again when we've actually got the rest of the parts. Okay guys, so the pump is back up and running, and you've probably saw earlier in the video this was really a dark green. So it's had the shock treatment put in now, and basically it's starting to go clear already, and the pump's only been running maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, so not very long at all. But it will run for about for about 24 hours, and then it'll have a binding agent added to it so that any residual items can just be vacuumed up. The heat pumps here as well. We're not going to be connecting that today because the foundations have got to be dug, because we've had a change of plan as to where we're going to put it. But everything else is in. We've also changed the RCBOs in the fuse box unit to MCBs, as we're already protected by a 30 milliamp RCD. The cables from the main board, or the subboard 2, to the 3rd board is actually SWA, and having had a consultation with NIC previously, we're happy to just leave those as MCBs because it's already protected by the 30 milliamp RCD in the pool house, but also there's a 30 milliamp in the house. Now we're going to leave that as it is. At the moment the clients request that we leave that, but really it should be, we either change the board for an RCBO board so it's on its own separate RCBO. The problem is obviously with the current board in there is that it's not high integrity, so we can't just, so it's not possible, and we can't guarantee that the cable that feeds the SWA, so it's twin and earth to an outside box, we can't guarantee that that cable is buried deeper than 50 mil, so it has to be on a 30 milliamp RCD. If we could guarantee it was buried 50 mil or more, then of course we could take it off the RCD side and just have it as a standalone MCB, because you don't need the RCD protection, but we can't, so it's stuck on the MCB, which is on the RCD. So at the moment, when the RCD trips, it can trip in the house or the pool house. Not really, it's a lottery, but there's never been any issues, so we'll see. But the client's been made aware. We're also going to do a current test at the end of it, because actually it's only 10 mil and the house is obviously way obviously over there. I think we calculated it was about, well, certainly from the back of the house to the pool house you're looking at just under 70 meters. You've then got the cable going through, and they've just shoved it on 10 mil. In terms of voltage, we've got 246 volts here when I measured it, so we just really need to make sure that in terms of the current draw is okay, so we'll have to do that afterwards. But there have been discussions about fitting 16 mil, I'd probably go 25 mil to be fair, 25 mil from the house in SWA all the way back to the board, which is easier said than done because there's no actual access there, so it'd be going through the kitchen and going that way. But that is an option the client is considering. So I'm going to go and label up the board, and we'll have a nice little picture of that afterwards. Okay guys, so it's final day at the pool job. It's actually the day of my assessment, so we've done our work here, so we're bringing the assessor here to come have a look. So everything's in place. The new pipe work's done and dusted for the heat exchanger. Obviously you've seen all this before. We've got the heat exchanger up and running, so that's the unit here, and yeah, it's some teeny tiny leaks but nothing major. But yeah, that's us done on this job. I'm pleased with how it's turned out. The client's really pleased with how it's turned out, so it's just a shame the weather's kind of turned now, but I'm sure it'll be nice again after this week. So guys, thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you again on another video. Bye for now.